How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit. We've got some Pokemon leaks. Let's get right into it. Starting things off, guys, we have, of course, yesterday there was a list of potentially all the different typings for the different gyms and the new Majins, which is a new battle gimmick that's going to be in Pokemon Generation 10, which is, of course, the next games. Codenamed Project Gaia, with the title so far as we know might be called Pokemon Winds and Waves, but that might change. But yeah, yesterday we spoke about a bunch of the islands, a bunch of the different, like, locations you're going to be exploring. We spoke about that in a video, I think, yesterday. But guess what? We do have some more stuff right now, which is we know the exact order of like what the gyms could be like, or at least not the order, but at least the typings, which was also yesterday mentioned. But we're going to go through that really quickly. And then we have some new images that have leaked actually showing up here. Literal gameplay locations and zones and environments. So, first things first, what do you think about the type selection for Gen 10's main adventure? From Central sharing it here. Of course, he was in the original one, I think, posted these images and stuff. I think the original source was Moot over on his Discord, and he got it probably from, I'm assuming, a source that has access to the GFO leaks, right? Like the person who hacked into or socially engineered their way into the Game Freak servers to get their hands on some of these files and are now spreading them. But basically, the gyms they list out are a grass gym, a poison gym, a flying gym, a fighting gym, a dark gym, a normal gym, a steel type gym, and a fairy type gym. So that's 8 of them in total. And then in terms of Majins, this is essentially going to be like the new gimmick, like the new thing you're going to be, like the new gimmick you're going to use. Think of like Mega Evolutions or Dynamaxing. This is a new thing they're going to be doing. We've kind of seen a little bit of a hint to it through Pikachu, like a version of Pikachu that was a Majin, which we already saw like a leak of a while back now. But again, I digress. It is interesting nonetheless. So they say, though, there's going to be a fire, psychic, ice, ground, rock, and ghost. That's like, what, 6 of them in total? And they're going to be like these research labs which you go to essentially, I guess, maybe battle them, get your hands on them. We'll see. The only missing ones are water, electric, bug, dragon, and then, of course, the Elite Four is what they mentioned here. So we'll see if those things are going to be, if those last, like, typings are going to be related to some other feature, or they're going to be also part of the Majins, maybe. We're going to have to wait and see, right? Nonetheless, though, next we have actual screenshots, right? So we're going to start from the top here. What we see here is actually a few different images, and these show us actual locations from the game that they were working on. One of these images, for example, is an icy area. We see these little, like, ice picks over here that are blocked by my camera. You have these little ice picks right here, which are, like, I'm assuming almost like waypoints to tell you where it's safe to walk, where the ice is solid enough, and when you're not going to fall through a ravine or something. I think that you do that in real life as well. But yeah, we see an icy area. Then we also have a picture of what looks to be sort of a more open grass field, which I'm hoping there's not going to be, like, I mean, of course, listen, having open grass fields is completely fine because that's real life as well. There are places like that. I do hope they add a variety, though, but based on these images, it looks like they were planning on at least way back in 2024, because this is versions and images from a build of the game from 2024. Okay, keep that in mind. So this is very old information and stuff at this point, right? Like, a lot of things would have changed or gotten better or worse or whatever else by now. So just keep that in mind. You know, like, things will have changed quite a bit since then. But I digress, though. It's just important to just mention that and just make sure you guys know what we're talking about, in case you guys were curious. But where are we next? Let's see. So we have the grass field. We also have what looks to be some sort of desert, which looks really nice. I do like the palm trees and everything. I do hope that they make sure that all the rocks and stuff that they have actually have like at least the ones I see here do seem like they're varied ones. Because the one thing I don't necessarily always like with Pokemon is that they will have one singular model, and that's the only model they use for most of the environment. Like, if it's one tree, they'll just have one tree, and there won't be any variety in them. Of course, if you look at a real forest, there's a lot of things going on in a real forest. There's foliage, there's moss, there's grass, there is mud, there is trees, there is, you know, like, you know, just like brand new, trees just springing up that are very like young trees that are only just starting to grow. You have large old, like, whether it's an oak and elk. Elk? Did I just say elk? That's an animal. Jeez. Sorry, I was thinking about a Swedish word. But either way, my point is, I do like when there's a variety in the actual environment. Like, the foliage and stuff needs to be there, and a variety in all of it needs to be present, which I'm hoping would be the case. They also share images of what looks to be some sort of, like, tower of some kind. This could be maybe one of those research facilities where you go and find those Majins, maybe. We see an image of a city, and I made a whole joke about the fact that this city might be bigger than the entirety of Legends ZA. which would be really bad if that ends up being an actual thing. I said it as a joke, but it's cool to see though that they are already like, you know, like this looks like an interesting like amount of space to go around, but I hope that there's a purpose to everything, right? They actually have things to do, because one thing I didn't like about Scarlet and Violet, I think a lot of people would agree with this, is the fact that when you play Scarlet and Violet, the cities are just kind of there like window shopping, right? You cannot go into any buildings. It's mostly just empty space. The NPCs don't feel like real people. They're just kind of, you know, they're just static, you know, billboards just standing around, not really doing anything. So I'm hoping at least there will be something valuable there in terms of doing an actual interactions. There's also some kind of cave, and for some reason they blurred out the player character, which is really weird. We also see some sort of open field again. I will say though, if you zoom in on some of the grass here, the actual grass, like the way the model of the grass looks fine. Graphically, like the game is still missing a lot of things. Like you gotta understand, the shading was probably not done. There's like early builds, like stuff that was not supposed to be seen by anyone. So it's not really something you can look at and be like, oh, this is how the game's going to look like exactly. No, the game could look way better than this, of course, because it's missing a lot of stuff. There's missing proper lighting, proper shaders to make things look specific ways, right? Like a specific art style they're going for. Like shaders will make a big impact on that. If you've ever used any custom reshaders on your PC, you might know what I mean. Like just in general in game development, like using specific shaders to make games look a certain way is very common standard. It's a thing that people do, you know, companies do, so it's nothing like crazy, and there's none of that right here. This is pretty much just raw gameplay, right? Or like as you know, unfinished as it can get in terms of this stage, right? So just keep that in mind. There's still a while to go before we need to wait a little bit before, you know, we cast any doubts or any of that. We have to wait a little bit and see the actual game when it gets revealed. They did also have this image, which this is the only picture that gets me genuinely excited, which is weird to say because it's just an underwater picture of some rocks. But it gets me excited because we haven't had diving in Pokemon, I'm pretty sure since like Oras, I guess, like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was the last time we saw it. And that was just a remake of Ruby and Sapphire and whatnot. But that's the last time I think we saw diving, right? So I am excited because it never made any sense to me why we couldn't in games like, whether it's Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield, doesn't really matter, either of them, why we were never able to like just dive into the lakes and stuff around the, you know, the regions we were in. So I'm happy that they're bringing this back. Like I'm so excited. And the worst part is they're going to introduce this, and you already know for Generation 11 in the future, they're going to remove it, which is the sad part. But I'm excited for this because I think there's so much untapped potential to explore the oceans of the Pokemon world. Having hidden temples underwater, lost civilizations, just a bunch of cool, you know, water-type Pokemon just chilling down there. Maybe even underground caves where you can literally go into an underground cave where there's actually breathable air and there's specific groups of Pokemon that live there underground, underneath the water. Like think about like the bases, like the different bases in the different places you find, you know, Groudon, Kyogre, etc. Back in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, right? Like when you go to find one of the like Team Aqua bases, I think you have to go like underwater and stuff, and it's you know, like not underwater. You have to go like underwater to find the city of, what is it again? Sotopolis? Sotopolis? Yeah, it's like kind of underwater, and then there's actually, it's kind of inside of that little mountain. My point is, dude, there's so much stuff they could do with this that would be so much fun. So I do hope, I really hope, and I do also see a cave up here on this image now, which is nice, but I just hope and pray every day that maybe we will get like a game where this diving feature is going to be like fully utilized and actually look really good. Like that is my biggest hope, is that they're going to do something like that where it's going to just turn out like just amazing. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see. It's at this point, you know, what can we say? We can only wait and see how things turn out. There is no way to sort of to guarantee anything, if that makes sense. Like we have to just wait and see how things go. But I'm excited. I'm very excited though to see how this is gonna all turn out, because also this weekend there's gonna be a 30th anniversary promotion happening with Pokemon on the Super Bowl. So there's gonna be a Super Bowl ad for Pokemon 30th anniversary. So I'm curious what that's gonna be, because it's weird that Pokemon would be paying for a Super Bowl ad, because those are relatively expensive. So it's very surprising that they would go ahead and do that. because I don't know if that has to do anything with like the market of Pokemon fans within the US. Maybe they're trying to reach the US audience again. I don't know. I don't know what the goal is. I mean, it's just promotion. That's the end goal. But it's very curious they would do that. I wonder what the reasoning is, right? Like, what is it that they're supposed to promote? Just the concept of Pokemon itself, or is it something else? I don't know. I'm very curious to see, because that is one of those things that's sort of up in the air for me that I'm very curious about. But let's go and check something out real quick. So the fellas over on the Discord where they shared all this stuff, they actually shared a bunch of other details, I guess, like about stuff that they... what do you call it? Like just a bunch of stuff that they essentially got their hands on. And I'm going to see if I can find the exact list of everything that they posted. So here we go. Right. So I've got the list. So I already showed you all the gameplay screenshots. And then apparently they were trying to they're trying to crack through a zip file that contained this data, right? And they were able to do that. And so now we have access to this stuff. Also, they were talking about some stuff yesterday, one of the people in that Discord, where they were talking about Pokemon Engine X. And then somebody asked, like, will Gen 10 use Pokemon Engine X? No, there are absolutely no indications of Gen 10 switching to a new engine. All the leaks we have seem to appear to show Gen 10 using a GFlib3 or a GFlib3 internal files being used. But it said progressing with development of the Pokemon engine for Gaia, introducing it in the Gaia project. That is correct. And this is asking a question, and that's the answer is that is correct. Developing doesn't always mean creating an entirely new solution. It also means simply improving it for the next game, as they've done for every other Pokemon game, which is true. That's very standard Pokemon. They then ask, is Pokemon Engine X Unreal Engine? No. Central and Light, both apparently mistakenly got this mistaken. Posted, apparently, I have no idea if they came up with this, but posted a video of a 3D UI test stating that it was Pokemon Engine X UI demo, despite nothing at all stating that this is the case. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if any of this is true. Again, listen. The thing with Pokemon games is they've always been an iteration of each other. Like, you never get like mega leaps in Pokemon games. It's always an iteration. Like, I think even if you look at the Sword and Shield like files, you'll notice that it was built off of like a base version of, I think, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was built upon a version of Sun and Moon, as far as I'm aware. Like, they always use previous stuff to sort of build further, and this is probably using Skull and Violet, but what you have to think about, though, is they're probably using they have to be using some sort of internal tool, whatever this Pokemon Engine X thing is. I would assume Pokemon Engine X isn't an actually brand new engine from scratch. I'm assuming it's just an upgraded version of what they already use, right? It's like, think of Unreal Engine 4 and then Unreal Engine 5. That's the kind of way you need to look at it. It's the same engine, it's just that they keep improving it, which is maybe why Engine X is specifically X as in the number, I guess, 10, right, in this case? But either way, they also say, will Pokemon games ever use Unreal Engine? Well, that is an actually good question. In a Confluence space, one of the developers, what is essentially a diary, mentioned creating a map for Seed, which, if you guys do not know, Pokemon's Project Seed is actually an MMO Pokemon game they were working on with a multi-region Japanese game, which was an Unreal Engine. They could be taken a few different ways, but here are some facts. Typically, the mainline Pokemon games are initially created in Unity, and then at some point converted into a full-on GFlib3 game. At a point in time, the comment was made, this likely was an early mock-up or a first 3D model of the map, which could be the case. This could mean one of two things in regards to an engine for Seed. One, the Unreal Engine mentions was due to the developer using Unreal Engine for a mock-up game, or purely just to piece together the entire map to show it a meaning. So yeah, maybe just literally using it as to make a sort of vertical slice, right? A vertical slice to show investors, maybe, or just the higher ups in this case, like they're saying, show them something, show them like what the idea is, what they could look like, right? But them using Unreal Engine, I think is kind of unlikely. Anything's possible, but I kind of doubt it. But yeah, either way, the game will use Unreal Engine, but in regards to the mainline games, we have no idea. What is Engine X really? Well, we don't really know. It was only mentioned twice within the Confluence without ever explicitly stating what it is. However, the Pokemon engine that is currently in use handles, from Ikaku source code, UI elements, timeline systems, possibly related to in-game cutscenes, text rendering, save data, RNG, and some networking stuff, and a few other minor things. So yeah, in case you were curious about that, there you go, now you know. There's also been tweets coming out from a few different people. You guys already know our boy Ball Guy. Ball Guy has been leaking a bunch of stuff. But not just that. Not just that. There's also been a few tweets from Ball Guy where he's been saying a few things. For example, he hinted that there being voice acting in the upcoming games. And apparently he said that it's not going to be revealed on 2/27, which is the 27th of February, which is Pokemon Day, right? So pretty much keep that in mind. Then also, somebody asked about some other stuff like Legend Tour, and Tier Component. Ball Guy, sorry to bother you again. How's Gen 10 and Switch 2 going for Game Freak? Is the game easier to work on and are able to do a lot more than Switch 2? The answer was they haven't presented themselves as it being a step due to hardware. A lot of things could be done with optimization. But yeah, so basically it's just that again. I know there's been somebody else, like somebody who's been going around leaking, sort of implying that they know the starter Pokemon. And I'm going to see if I can find their account really quickly here for you guys, because I think we might be able to take a look at this post, because I think it is implying some stuff. So let's take a look if we can go over to this account really fast and take a look at what we're talking about. So this is somebody who might have some information, because people keep telling me to take a look at their tweets. But also, I think some stuff has been getting taken down, so it is what it is. Now, I think he tweeted something the other day about the starter Pokemon, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But it was something about, like, one of the starters looks really, you know, like slays, like Yas Queen, it slays, whatever, and some other stuff. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was. But here's some riddles, right? So some easy riddles is what he calls it, which I don't know if you guys can figure anything of this out. If you do, let me know. I don't get it. I don't. I'm not the best with riddles and figuring them out, but it is what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.